First of all, I'd like to welcome today's guest, our senior implementation consultant, Phil Clark.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Front Porch with Brian Beaudry.
Let's start with the basics. Who are you? Where are you from? And what song would you say best sums you up?
So, as you just introduced me, I am Phil Clark. I live in I'll say a little town just in the Midlands of the UK called Malvern. It's about 2 hours north of the UK office in Reading. Song that best sums me up. This took some thinking about. And I have gone with Chumbawamba and Tub Thumping as the opening lines to it. I get knocked down, but I get up again, and you're never going to keep me down.
All right, good. If it was any other Chumbawamba song, I don't think anyone would know what you're talking about. But because it is that one, it's like, all right, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know that we're going to discuss some of that stuff later on, so I'm not gonna ask follow-ups here.
No, that's okay.
Let's go in the Wayback Machine. Let's hop in our time machine. Do you remember the first thing that you wanted to be when you were growing up?
So, yes, I think as a child, going to school on the bus and watching him with that big, as a child, that steering wheel was huge, watching the size of the bus and thing, I wanted to be a bus driver.
All right. Well, how close did you get to becoming a bus driver then?
I became a bus driver.
You achieved your childhood dream.
I did, yes. It was later on in life, probably in my early 40s, but yes, I did become a bus driver for a time.
That's good. We don't want children driving buses. That's not a good idea.
No.
All right. So, then when did you realize that training was a role for you? Because, I don't think that when you're thinking about bus drivers, you're thinking training.
No. It started out before bus driving, actually. I was actually a British gymnast trampolining coach. And I was coaching, I'll say adults, but also I specialised in coaching children with disabilities and different educational needs. And coaching them and getting through the stages and becoming into, not professional, but into trampoline competition standards, should we say.
Okay,
and
so...
to see people that I've coached... Sorry, go on.
If you were coaching trampoline, that means you had to have participated, probably.
I did, yes.
Okay, and tell me how you get into trampolining.
I won't go into too much history, but it was one of my stepchildren at the time. Actually had autism quite severely, and he used to go to a trampoline club for children, say educational needs, different learning abilities. And I used to just take him and sit watching it, and this looks fun, I want to have a go at this. So I went along to the adult classes, and I started to have a go, and I just took to it, and I loved it. And the people that were coaching me with what I was doing said, you're really good at this. Why don't you become, and we'll teach you to be a trampolining coach.
All right. Well, that's pretty darn neat. I thought you were going to tell me like you were almost an Olympian if they had it in the Olympics at that point. But
I didn't think I was at competition standard, but I moved home and moved location. I found another trampolining or gymnastics club, and I just went down to participate just for the exercise and to keep into it. And I went onto the trampoline the first time I was there just to have a little go, and their coach came up and said, we have an open competition coming up in a few months. Would you like to represent us? I declined because I didn't think I was ready, but in their eyes, yes, they thought I was ready to do competition.
All right. Wait, do you still trampoline?
No.
Okay, I was wondering if there's if there's a surprise event in the UK and they brought out a trampoline, would you just be out here doing all these crazy tricks?
I wouldn't be safe on one now.
Okay, well, I won't try to push them to make that happen then.
No, please don't. But from that, it was within the buses. I did start out as a bus driver, and opportunity came up where they were looking for new trainers with the bus driving. And I applied. It wasn't actually teaching people to drive the bus. I wasn't not confident in me doing it, but having the confidence to sit with somebody else driving me around that's never driven one before. So I went on to the classroom side of it, is all the theory, the practicals, the legal side, to teach them on the classroom side of bus driving.
All right. Well, I'd never considered that there was a classroom side to bus driving.
It,
What's the
it's
most difficult thing to teach someone about driving a bus when you're focusing in the classroom?
one of the big parts of it as a bus driver is because they're face of the company. They're the first person somebody sees of that company boarding a bus. And a big part of it was teaching to be or treat everybody equally and never be disrespectful to people. But then there's also the backside of it comes in is you've got legal requirements as in how many hours you can drive in a day or a week and the rotation on the hours and teaching them all of that side of things.
That makes sense.
They're allowed to do, yes.
Okay, so you mentioned that you actually started driving the buses later. So were you training people before you started driving the buses, or
No.
Okay.
No.
What were you doing before you got into bus things?
I was a big part of what I had several jobs over my career life, and some of them was working in IT as well as graphic designer in print shops. But a big part of it, I was a mechanical electrical engineer for a domestic appliance company, fixing domestic appliances.
Like what types of domestic appliances were you fixing?
Washing
Just everything?
machines,
Oh.
yeah, washing machines, tumble dryers, dishwashers, mainly on the utility side of things. Vacuum cleaners, yes.
All right, so you're handy around the house as well.
I can be.
I can be is the perfect way to answer that.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you go from doing all of these types of jobs to deciding that you are interested in training? Was it just that trampolining thing, or was it something else?
I enjoyed, the trampolining thing got me into it in a way, and it was circumstances in my life at the time is I wanted to basically a big change and a fresh start. And I moved location. I moved about 150 miles away and had a big fresh start in my life and wanted a new fresh job. And I saw this advert looking for bus drivers and applied for it.
You're like, my childhood dream. I'm going to make it happen now.
That's it.
So you had to go through the training to become a bus driver first.
Yes.
And it didn't scare you off?
No, I enjoyed it.
All right. What's the best part of being a bus driver?
The people. Some people, the people can be fantastic. You meet all people from all different walks of life and different areas. And I went from obviously doing bus driving and the training, and I moved then from public transport into coach, which is private hire. And it is a really good industry to be in.
Yeah,
I think. Yes.
So why switch from public to private? Like, what are the differences as far as being the driver?
On being the driver, public transport is set routes, basically driving in circles all day.
Yeah.
Private hire is private tour work. People booking coaches because they want to go out to events and go to different places. I never actually did it, but I've got a lot of my friends. They do European holidays, driving from the UK over to Europe, ski trips to Switzerland, Italy. Yeah, it can be a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Okay, well, I went over last summer, I think, to Scotland, and we did a little bus tour thing. So I need to know, did you ever leave someone at a stop? Because they said they've only done that one time before, but I feel like that's the exact number that you would need to say to make people aware that it will happen, but I don't know if it's actually true.
In my memory, I don't think I have. Bus driving domestic routes is... You stop at the stops. You know where the stops are. You will stop. And some of them you even have to stop if there's nobody there. Coach, private hire work is you do a head count. You have a lead passenger and you make sure the lead passenger knows that all his guests that he's got on his trip are back with them. So I've never left anybody at a bus stop. But the town that I worked in as the bus driving had a lovely one-way system. And the one-way system as you come out of town had a fork in the road where you would go left to do country routes and you would go right to do domestic town routes. So I knew I'm doing a country route, so I know I've got to go left, and you come up and somebody distracts you or talks to you or asks you something which they shouldn't do while you're driving. And in your mind, the last time you went round there, you went to the right to go round on the domestic route. So instead of taking them off to their country routes where you're going, you're now going back round through the town again on the one-way system. And it's about a 10-minute route to come around the one-way system to get back where you need to be to take them out to the country route, which is absolutely fine. You apologise, and as you come up to it for the second time and you do the same thing again on the same people with the same passengers, it gets embarrassing.
But it only happened that one time.
Only the one time, yes. Yes,
Okay.
you learn quickly.
I was going to say, yeah, I remember one day when I was in the Marines, I was driving to work from off base, and I just like went on autopilot or whatever and started driving back towards my apartment like the day was done. And I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're living your dream. You're
Yes.
driving a bus. Why do you end up in a training role?
When I switched from the bus to the coach, I applied for a job as a trainer driver with the coach company. They did look after me well and I got on with everybody well, but they were lots of promises of, we're going to do this on the training, we're going to have this training school, we're going to meet this criteria, we're going to be selling outsourcing training, getting people to come in to buy training off us. And it wasn't happening, and I was doing more driving than training, and it wasn't the role I wanted. I wanted to be a trainer, and I did it for 3 years, and things weren't happening, weren't moving. So point of rental came. Well, it wasn't point of rental at the time; it was hire concepts. But yes, the advert came up.
Okay. Well, before we get to point of rental, I need to know what distinguishes a good bus driver from a bad bus driver. Like, do you know it as you're training people? It's like, this person, they're passing the tests and whatnot, but they're going to not be so great.
Timekeeping. It's all on timing with buses.
Okay.
And being a people person. I've witnessed where the company I worked for had a strict policy of no drivers will be take abuse, and they would take legal action if they were by passengers, etc. I've never had that scenario where anybody's ever given me any issues while I was bus driving. I've actually had people bring me in bars of chocolate because they get to know you, and Christmas I've had boxes or tubs of chocolates. And I've seen bus drivers where 3 different occasions are having to go to court to be witnesses because they've had people spit at them or be abusive to them. And you think, well, why you, but not me? It's being a people person.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like I would be the person that gets spat on. But I don't know that I'd be able to hold back from and just let it go to court. So I will not be a bus driver. All right. You mentioned how you found point of rental, but sort of / higher concept. Again, why software though? Like you got into training. You did mention that you had a little bit of IT in your background,
Yeah.
but
When I was in school all those many years ago, in the early 80s, our school was one of the first schools to actually have a computer lab put in to learn to use computers. And I started to learn a little bit of basic programming in school. And then I left school and I had my home computer when the original Commodore 64s and like that came out. And yeah, I did enjoy using it. When computers, I'll say, is still in their infancy, let's go back in history and show my age. Windows 3.1 and DOS and the 386 computers, I went and did a basic computer literacy course. So you learn how to use Excel, Access, Microsoft Word and like that.
Yeah.
And I moved on and I convinced a company that I could do a graphic design role using their software, which I did manage to, no problem. But even that, sat there watching the beige box with the big monitor on the desk, is I get curious as to what's in that box, what's making this thing do all that stuff that's happening on the screen. So I went into it a bit further and learned how to get an old computer and dismantle it and then rebuild it and then rebuild them from scratch.
That does seem to tie in with your with your domestic appliances role.
Yes, yes. And yeah, it's always been there that, yeah, working in computers, in a computer industry.
All right. So now I understand why you got into software a little bit more. But why the hire industry? Was that just like what was available, or?
Well, I was, I've worked within the coach industry, as I said, private hire and public hire. So it's sort of like there is a hire element in there. I have also worked, as I said, domestic appliances, engineering role. And also, is again, when I first left school, I went to work within the British Rail on the railways within the UK in the civil engineering side, in the construction side. And with what the job role involved on the advertising, I thought I fit all the areas they want and I'll apply. I will see what happens and where it goes.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like you were really tying everything together for him.
Yes, it's like my whole life has worked up to this moment.
All right. So so you initially came on to be a trainer?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So
I applied as a training role.
Been training this whole time. Perfect.
Yes, 10 years of it.
Yeah, when we talked for your 10-year anniversary,
Yes.
you mentioned that you've had the opportunity to travel like a variety of places.
Yes.
Is that something you'd wanted to do your entire life? I mean, driving a bus, you can only go so far.
Yes. I've always enjoyed travelling, holidays, etc. Opportunity came about was for me the first one, and I'm going to say it was, I think between Dean and Mark gave me the opportunity to go out to Dubai and spend a week out there working with one of our customers. And from there is over to Saudi. And the last one, I think big one away, was going over to South Africa in Johannesburg for a couple of weeks.
Nice. Do you have like a best story for the road? Like either an amazing story or a story that like everything went wrong and we should all learn. It should be a cautionary tale.
I think Saudi went horribly wrong on the. I was there. I went there twice. Mm-hmm. The first week went horribly wrong because they hadn't prepared for what they were meant to do and they weren't ready for me really. So we got it all fixed and then I had to go back, which then went happily okay.
Yeah.
And I think the best experience I had was going out to Johannesburg. 2 weeks there. I mean, one, the people over there are fantastic. The company, they looked after me. We hit all the targets. We got everything they wanted done. But during the 2 weeks, we had the weekend break. And I was taken out to visit one of their wildlife parks and had a weekend in safari.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be pretty
fun. It was such a memorable moment. It was a safe safari, should we say, as in they didn't have lions and stuff roaming around freely that could eat you. Okay. And had during the weekend is a 2-hour horse trek around the park, riding a horse around through giraffes and zebras and hippopotamuses and things. Yes.
Nice. Yeah. If you're on a horse, you definitely don't want the lions. Lions loose around you. All right. What overall is your favorite part of your current role? Why do you like training so much?
It's working with the customers. It's getting the customer over the line and seeing that customer happy with the system and the system doing the job that it needs to do for their industry and seeing the success of them making it in their expansions and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely get the vibe. You're a people person. You want to help and you want to see smiles on faces.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it's working with the team in the offices as well and stuff and helping out and everybody working together. And yeah, every day is different. It never gets boring.
All right.
And it can be very challenging, and a challenge is always good.
Well, it's good to a point.
Yes.
But having the attitude that challenges are always good. It's a good attitude to have.
Yes.
All right. Before we get into other things, I want to play a game with you. We'll call it Phil or Nil. If you agree with the statement or it's true, say Phil. If you disagree with it, say Nil, obviously. And then I'll need a reason for each of these.
Okay.
Okay. So Phil or Nil, you've been known to cry at movies.
Phil.
Is there a particular type of movie that...
I think I can get quite emotional on some things. And I would like to think that I'm not the only one. I'd like to think other people do as well.
Yeah, is that something
Yes.
that like has evolved as you've gotten older? Because I feel like as I get older, I also things hit a little bit more.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Certain subjects in certain films and stuff hit home more.
All right. Phil or Nil, you've cheated at a board or card game as an adult. We don't count kids.
I'm going to say nil.
Okay, you
I
play by the
can't.
book?
I do. I can't understand why or the enjoyment playing a game if you have to cheat at a game.
It's fair.
If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose.
True. All right, Phil or Nil, you've told an outrageous lie to a child.
Phil,
What's the lie you think of?
the one that often gets me in trouble, and I have grandchildren now, is to get a little bit of peace from the grandchildren. Is say, let's play hide and seek and send them off to hide, but forget to go and find them.
Yep, that one's great. That one was definitely one of my favorites to do with my kid. And then she would find me and be like, "Oh, I forgot to do something. I knew there was something." All right, Phil or Nil, your favorite fast food fries are from McDonald's.
Right, so I'm going to say Phil on the answer. Yeah, my favourite fries is McDonald's.
Okay.
I like KFC as in the chicken side of things, but I prefer the fries from McDonald's. So I have been known we are lucky enough where I live is we have a McDonald's and a KFC quite close to each other. So I have got my chicken, and then driven to McDonald's to the drive-thru to get my fries.
All right. Yeah, I was going to ask if you ever did that double move.
Yes.
All right. See, over here we have like a combination. Sometimes there's a combination of like a KFC and a Taco Bell and a Pizza Hut, but the other ones don't have really fries, so you can't really combine them quite the same.
Yes.
All right, Phil or Nil, you have an embarrassing nickname or a nickname that you hate.
No, Phil, it's not embarrassing. As I was growing up, people used to call me Pip. I got used to it, but it's not like something I really like. As I've grown up, is my partner and some other people I know quite close to me tend to call me Clarky because of my surname.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had one or few people tend to call me Philly Willy for some reason.
Is that not a relative?
No.
Just some random person was like, "Hey."
Well, I'm going to say not random person. It's
Yeah.
people I know.
Okay.
One of which is in the office in the UK.
All right. Interesting. We'll have to find out who decided. I should call you Philly Willy.
I won't say any names. I'll mention Ankita.
Okay. All right. Let's take a quick little break, and we'll get to your non-work related questions in a second here.
Okay, no problem.
It takes something special to dive into the unknown, to face the unpredictable, and unlock the mysteries that await beyond. Something tough, reliable, to fuel your confidence where elements seem to conspire to blur your senses. An unwavering ally, relentlessly field tested by the pioneers who ventured there before. It was constantly perfected over time for those who push their limits always further and shine an ever new light on our world. The Point of Rental Goosey.
I love that your LinkedIn includes your time as a lifeboat crew member. What is the story there? Like, why did you join that? And what did you actually do? How many people did you need to rescue, or were you just predominantly like hanging out?
I would like to say predominantly hanging out. I used to live in Wales near the coast, and when I say the coast, it was more of a very, very big, wide river estuary. So it was on the River Severn. And I used to do some sailing, as in dinghy, small, like two-man dinghy racing. Where the yacht club was, where I did the racing, was also the inshore lifeboat for the area. And they would come and talk with us, and we would talk with them and stuff. And I started talking with them, and they asked, like, obviously where I lived, as in proximity to it, and I was in a range where they said, if you'd like to come along and be a volunteer on the lifeboat, please join up and we'll train you. So yes, I did that for a number of time. We did training each week, but it was only like once a fortnight we could actually do river training on the thing, because we needed the tide in to put the boat in the water.
Yeah.
But yeah, we dedicated on the training side, but yeah, we did have calls and stuff, and some was just people would get stuck or cut off by the tide onto little islands and stuff, and sadly it would be rescue and recovery calls on there.
Yeah, that sounds a little less fun.
So yes, but we are there doing a service, and it can reunite people with their loved ones, should we say.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
well, good on you for volunteering, because it's always a bit more challenging when people are like,
yes,
hey, if you want to come out here,
yes.
you can. We'll pay you nothing, and you can.
Yes.
All right. So the reason that we're talking this month in particular, we just did, again, I said your 10-year work anniversary video, and you mentioned that you were diagnosed with MS about 9.5 years ago. So
yes.
Just to be clear, it's only a coincidence that happened at the same time. We didn't give you MS when you came here.
No, you didn't give me MS.
But anyway, March is Global MS Awareness Month, so it seems like a good time to discuss it and learn a bit more about your experience, get some understanding, and maybe get some people so they can get some awareness and help others.
So, well, basically, I mean, how my symptoms came about is I actually had my interview for this job. Everything was absolutely fine. Between the interview and my start date, after I was offered the position, is I got this numb tingling sensations in my legs, had no idea what it was. And it was literally almost the day before I started, is I got a symptom they call foot drop, where when I walked, my foot wouldn't lift. It would just sort of a simulation on my hand, it would drop like that. So day one, walking into the office, brand new job, on crutches.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was at the time, so I'd been to see the doctor, and I believe the doctor knew what they were looking for, but they sent me off for tests and said, we believe it may just be some nerve damage, and we'll do some tests and find out what it was. And over a period of a week or 2 weeks, everything recovered and got back to normal. And I thought, maybe it was just like a virus that affected or something on my nerves. But no, the doctors and the hospital insisted on carrying on doing further tests. And yeah, they came up with about 6-7 months later and said I had multiple sclerosis.
So that's what I assume. That's one of those things where, as soon as you have the foot drop thing, you're like, I definitely need to see a doctor about this.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that has to be really weird to have it just go away, and then okay.
So yeah, if
someone else out there has their foot randomly drop, go ahead and see the doctor.
And see the doctor. But it's MS. I won't say it's a bit of a funny disease. It's not funny at all. But it's different on every person. I mean, what MS actually is your own immune system attacked your nervous system, and your nerves are coated with a substance called myelin, and your immune system eats the myelin away. And basically it's like having electrical wires which are all insulated and protected, suddenly you've took the insulation out and they can touch, they can short circuit, or the signals don't travel down the wires anymore as they should. Although with me it's affected on my legs, other people, they can get eye problems, even speech problems with their arms and other limbs. It affects everybody totally differently.
Okay. Is that why it's multiple? Because it
Yes.
attacks in multiple. Okay.
Yes. People with multiple sclerosis, we're too good to have it singular. We have to have it multiple.
Why isn't it just singular sclerosis? That would be. All right. So how are you getting on with things? Like, how has it impacted your life in the past 9.5 years?
When I first, as I say, there's different forms. There's when I first got diagnosed, I had what they classed as relapsing remitting, where you have a relapse and you recover from it. And you might recover for months and nothing happens and everything's fine, and then you might get another one. And the disease, it progresses slowly. I have now been re-diagnosed where I don't have relapsing remitting anymore. I have what they call secondary progressive. What secondary progressive is, if I get a relapse, I don't recover from the relapse, it stays where it is. But I will never get a relapse where it will suddenly spike and shoot up and I'll suddenly collapse on the floor and not do anything. It's like a very slow, steady incline. And when they say slow, I mean, I've got friends from having it that have had MS for 30 years and they're still mobile, walking about, obviously with walking aids or wheelchair use, but they still get about actively and still move around.
All right, well.
But there are other versions of it, which is primary progressive, which I think, in my opinion, is one of the worst ones you can get, which is, as I say, it is primary and it's progressive and it starts from day one and you decline very rapidly.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the that's the problem with multiple, is there is no defined what's going to happen.
No.
All right, well. What surprised you about the whole experience, 9.5 years in?
9.5 years in is my experience is, I will say it's personal to me, but I know other people have had the same things, is people, when you get it, some people become distant from you. They stop inviting you out to places because you one day can be completely different from another. Is people will ask, oh, we're going to do this at the weekend, you want to come? Yeah, well, that's fine, I'll do that. And then you might have a relapse episode and you can't do it and you just don't feel up to doing it. So they feel, oh, you're going to let us down, and they become distant and stop inviting you to places. And then you get other people become closer and become better friends, and people you didn't know, you suddenly meet new people. And it's been a big change. Work-wise, the people at work, everybody has been absolutely fantastic and so supportive.
Well, that's good.
It's I predominantly work from home. I do go down the office to visit them and say hello.
When you mentioned how far you're away, I'm like,
Yes.
I hope that you're not going in every day.
No, I do go down. I'll be going down in March, beginning of March. We're going to have an office day, and it's lovely. I get so well looked after. Is I will sit there and people make me cups of tea and bring them to me. I feel spoilt. I see my managers looking and thinking, why are you getting tea brought to you and I don't?
I was going to say, I'm not sure I'd make the trade, but it is a nice perk, I guess.
But no, it is. I mean, as I say, the people I have around me now is friends and family and stuff like that. I do get so much support.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
All
right. Well, let's get to the next most obvious topic. Is you said you do the odd disco.
Yes.
So please clarify and translate to American English for this one. Are you a DJ? Are you dancing? Does disco mean disco music, or does it mean any kind of music? What is a disco?
So basically, if somebody wants to have a birthday party or a celebration or something and they need somebody to play music, I will go and do it for them. So I'm not one of these big fancy DJs that does all the mixing and transitions and stuff like that. No, I'm not that good. I would like to learn, but no, I'm not that good. So yeah, it's just like a little bit of a hobby in a way. And yeah, I get invited to parties. I actually get paid a little bit and I get free food to go to parties and play music that I love.
That's the correct way to do it. So what is your process? Do you like consult with the person and say like, all right, what type of music are you looking for? Or do you just play whatever you want?
No, basically I consult with them and ask them what they would like. I have enhanced greatly on the IT, which side of things, which people love, is I found a lovely app which you can produce a QR code. They can scan the QR code and they send their request straight to my phone. Nice. And they don't have to come up and shout at me over the music.
Do people still come up and shout at you?
Yes. And they have to shout because the music's too loud to hear them.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you need that personal connection.
Yes.
All right. Has that thing been a lifelong thing, or did you just pick it up and say, you know what, I would like to start DJing now? I
got into it by chance. It's going to be, what's it got to be, 3 or 4 years ago. I'll say one of my best friends, she was getting married and invited myself and my partner to the wedding. And she asked me for a huge favour, is she had a DJ for the music, but she said for the day when we walk down the aisle and for music while we're having the dinner and everything, we need some background music and obviously the bridal march type of music. Would you be able to help me? And I said, yeah, no problem. I sorted all the music and I put it on a USB stick. So in the hotel where the wedding was, they just had to plug it in and play it, which worked absolutely fine. But knowing what she's like and thinking she's going to change her mind on something at the last minute, I will take my laptop just in case. So while the wedding was going on in the evening, the DJ they'd got, it wasn't a DJ as in all fancy equipment. It was a friend of theirs with their laptop that plugged it into the hotel's system. And all he did was play house and garage music at a wedding. And they didn't like it, and they asked him very politely, would he play what they'd asked him to play? And he got a bit upset, closed his laptop and walked off, and there was no music. So I realised what was happening, and I said, give me 2 minutes. I went out, I got my laptop, I plugged my laptop in. I had some music, and I also had Spotify, and I had YouTube, and I was able to give music that they wanted. And I enjoyed doing it, and I thought, I'm going to do some more of this.
I'm going to go find the weddings that this guy's doing and see if they don't like house, then hey, just talk to me.
Yes.
All right. What is your biggest pet peeve? I'm trying to avoid annoying everyone. Please don't say it's asking you about MS because, well, then I'll just feel bad about what I've done for the past.
It's sort of a little bit on the MS thing. It's when I'm trying to do something and somebody not offers to help, but just comes and takes over and helps without asking. But even if it wasn't MS, it's ask. Don't just come and do it.
Yep.
Be polite. Be nice. Would you like some help with that? Not just take sharp knives out of my hand and start cutting vegetables and things, or carrying things for me.
Okay. Well, good. I will always ask before taking stuff away from you. All right. I feel like it's unfair to ask you a million questions and you don't get to ask me any. So I'm giving you this space. You get one question. Do you have a question you would like to ask?
Yes.
Okay.
What's been your biggest challenge in preparing or trying to get somebody to agree to do one of your videos with you?
Getting someone to agree, that's not too tough because if they aren't willing to participate, then like this isn't mandatory. I only want people that, want to share a little bit about themselves. So I don't really push too much on that. A lot of the times the biggest challenge is just like scheduling. I don't know if you remember James, who used to work with Point of Rental.
Yes.
Many times.
I still speak to James because he's into DJing as well.
Interesting. Yeah, so many times we've had to reschedule, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know that we're ever going to get an episode going. So yeah, it's mostly been scheduling. Obviously, people have a lot of stuff going on, and it's hard to make time to do a full hour. But
yes. This works well though, because I'm happy to work after hours on work to do this with you, and time zone wise, you're in the working day.
Yep. And I'm also a person who's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and make up whatever time needs to get made up. So whatever gets done, gets done. All right. Before we go to the 5 important questions, I need you to give me a top 5 list in a segment we'll call Gimme 5.
Okay.
Now, did you have your list ready? I gave you a lot of suggestions.
I did.
All right. What is your top 5 list?
Music to listen to.
Okay. We're going to need to start at number 5, just as a reminder, and then we work our way up to number 1. So
yes.
Number 5.
Okay. Number 5. If I just want some background music and some chill out in the background just to break up the silence of the noise, classical. One of my go-tos, Nigel Kennedy, Four Seasons.
Okay.
I do like that in the background sometimes, or while I'm driving sometimes. It's calming and it's relaxing.
That's usually a good thing to have on when you're driving.
Yes.
All right, number 4.
Number 4, Paul Simon, or as an alternative, sometimes Simon and Garfunkel. Some of their stuff, I do really like some of theirs.
Yeah, I kind of like. I kind of mentally always tie them together as
yes.
like
yeah.
Paul Simon and Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah.
Yes, Paul Simon's got a lovely album that he did with an African group called Lady Smith Black Mambazo, I think it is, and there's a lot of a cappella in there as well with them, and that's really nice.
Awesome. Number 3.
Number 3, Spotify. I'll just load up an 80s party mix.
80s party mix. All right.
80s party mix. Complete various, just party music from the 80s. 80s, yeah. My favourite is 80s music.
I think that's everyone's thing is like whenever they were in their, teen years and really getting into music, it's like, nope, that's cemented forever. This is the best music.
I find even youngsters today that were brought up, say, from the noughties onwards, still like to listen to the 80s.
That's true.
I get a lot of requests on the discos from youngsters wanting 80s stuff.
Perfect. All right. Number 2. We're at 2, right?
Yes, number 2, Dire Straits.
Okay.
Nothing I can say about it. I just like listening to Dire Straits. I just love the music in there.
Okay, I think a fellow pointer, his band was compared to Dire Straits.
All
so
right.
I'll have to find them for you.
Yes, please. I want to listen to them, and I'll compare them.
All right. Number 1.
Number 1, UB40. I do like a lot of UB40 stuff. My house is, I won't say fully automated, but I have Alexa in each room and stuff, and I have a Bluetooth speaker in the bathroom. I will load up Bluetooth and put UB40 on, and I'll go and have my shower and whatever, and hide in the bathroom.
Okay. See, I was picturing it as like you would have your like room entrance music, and then as soon as you walk into a room, UB40 starts playing.
I hadn't thought of that, actually.
All right. Well, there's a good takeaway for you.
Yeah, but I've always wanted to go and see UB40 in concert as well, and they are still touring, so hopefully before they get as old as me and decide I'm not touring anymore, I will get a chance to go and see them.
All right. Well, good luck. I'll keep you up to date on any UB40 news that I get.
Thank you.
All right. Let's get to the 5 important questions now.
Yes.
5 important questions. 5 important questions. 5 important questions.
Okay, number 1. What would you say is your greatest success in life?
My children. I have 3 children, 37, 31 and 25. Seeing them growing up and achieving what they've done, and building their own lives and futures.
Are any of them bus drivers?
No.
Okay.
No.
It wasn't their dream.
No.
It was just
I have 2 daughters. They are both, I'll say, house mothers. They've got young children themselves. And I've got my son. He's actually should be working for us because he's got a degree in cybersecurity and internet networking.
All right. Well, I'll pass that recommendation along to.
But he actually works for a university now as well.
Perfect. All right. Number 2. What is your greatest fear?
Drowning. So, besides the fact that I spent time doing lifeboat and rushing out into the sea and saving people, and I'm also a qualified scuba diver. The fear of drowning.
All right. So you're one of those where you're going to meet your fear head on. You're going to train yourself so that it won't happen to you.
Yes.
All right. Number
Hopefully.
3. Well, let's not put that out into the world. You're good. What is something that you've changed your mind on?
It's not so much as change my mind, but it's never take anything for granted because anything can change at any time.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
definitely
it's like
easy to plan as a youth and be like, oh yeah, I don't need to
Yeah.
worry about so many things. But
I mean, as I said, 10 years ago, I was trampolining, I was scuba diving, I was doing all sorts of fantastic things, and now my life changed and I can't do those things anymore. So, yeah, anything can change. Don't take things for granted.
yeah, and be flexible because hey, figure out what you can
Yes.
do instead of focusing
Yes.
on what you can't.
Yes.
All right, if you could tell first day at Point of Rental Phil one piece of advice, what would you tell him?
Listen to everybody and ask for help when you need it, and don't be nervous. I
Well-
think anybody going first time into a new job is always nervous, but I'm going to say, if I could go back, there's no need to be nervous.
Okay, was there a specific time that you didn't ask for help that it's like, oh man, it would have been so much easier if I just asked?
I think is learning the product and going out training is thinking I can learn this on, you see an area and think, I know this, I can do this, and you suddenly no, I don't, I should have asked for more help on this subject.
Yep, I can relate on that one, although it's not with our software because I would not pretend I know anything about that. All right, what's something that you believe that it feels like no one agrees with you on?
Ingredients when I'm cooking. I do love to cook, and I will put stuff in things that people, oh, that doesn't belong in there, you shouldn't do that. Try it, experiment, be brave.
I was gonna say what's an example? What are you putting in these things?
Nothing extraordinary. My favourite go-to dish is I will make spaghetti bolognese. I will make the bolognese sauce from scratch. I will add all the ingredients in from scratch. I add celery into it, and people say celery doesn't belong in it. Yes, it does. You
Interesting.
need to try it. Yes.
I was gonna say I'll investigate that one.
Yeah.
I'm always up for a little. I'll try something once for sure. All right. Well, I'm sorry you've been sentenced to death. As putting celery in bolognese sauce is now a capital
Yes.
offense. That's a weird
Right.
international law. So, what would you choose to have as your last meal?
If I'm going to be facing death at the end of it, is I would go for a traditional Greek or Turkish meze meal. If you've ever experienced one of them, they are lots of little plates of lots of dishes, and they just keep coming one after the other, and it will take hours to get through it and eat it, so you just prolong it.
All right. Well, I do love the sound of a meal that comes and keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps
Yes,
coming.
I used to go to Cyprus on holiday a lot, and I used to frequent a restaurant called Little Plates, and their basic meat meze meal would consist of about 15 to 20 courses.
Nice. That
But-
sounds like the dream right there.
Yes.
All right. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? This is like an instant change.
My weight. Yes, as my mobility has gone down a little bit, I don't do as much exercise as I should. Even though I am capable of doing exercise, I don't. I'm sat down doing this job all day.
Yep.
I need to lose some weight. And if I could click my fingers and say, you're back to your goal weight, I would.
Well, sorry, I'm not an actual genie, but that is a good one. I can also relate to that one. If you could change one thing about Point of Rental, again, this is a genie situation, snap change, what would it be?
When we have our office days and we have lunch brought in, is where they get the lunch from. They keep going to Costco and buying Costco sandwiches and pizzas. A change, please.
Yeah, I can understand that. I was like, I do like Costco pizza though. But
Yes, Costco pizza is quite nice, actually.
yeah, but yeah, you do want a little variety. Maybe
Yes.
maybe they can get some more little plates. Tell me a secret about Point of Rental, especially like the UK office, because I've never been there. I don't know anything about it.
I think even the UK office, I don't think many people know about the swag store and what's in the swag store and some of the stuff you can get. I have just ordered some stuff off there, some of the holdall bags and stuff for travelling, because they look really good and unique. And also, I wear the Pointer Rental top on there. I ordered a sweatshirt as well.
Oh, nice. Good. Well, I'm glad someone's using it.
Yes.
I am now getting involved in sending stuff via the swag store. So
Yes, but I think in the UK, I don't think people are aware it exists. Or some people. Yes.
We'll slowly make people aware.
Yes.
All right, Phil, thank you for chatting today. And thank you to everyone out there who's watching on YouTube or listening wherever they're listening. It means a lot to me. Please share this podcast with your friends, and then we can all talk about Phil later. See you next month, and we'll keep the porch light burning for you.
Thank you very much.